Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Monarch again. So a couple months ago I decided to do an update on Monarchs, and I decided to come back again for this upcoming month. So yeah, I'm kind of getting a head start on December of 2021. But anyway, I decided to go back to Monarch simply because there was a tech choice that I kind of overlooked and didn't realize just how strong it actually was for this strategy. And I gave a shout outs to my friend Manny for this simply because he ran this in his deck. So we'll get to what that card is momentarily. But overall, I did make some minor changes throughout the deck in general, especially on the side deck because I wanted to adapt to this current meta. So that's just one of the things about it. So anyway, figured I'd show you guys what I got this time around. So starting off with the mid deck, of course, you're going to be playing 3 of the boss monster, Erebus. So one thing I like about Erebus is that, well, like Ether, you have to send 2 Monarch spells or traps on the turn he's tribute summoned. Well, I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure it's mandatory if I'm not mistaken. Oh, okay, it is, it's not mandatory. But also the fact that it bounces back a card your opponent controls or is in your graveyard or in their hand. So basically it just generates, it just makes it so your opponent doesn't have any good advantage against you. And also the fact that it doesn't target too. So yeah, Erebus, the fact that, again, it just bounces back a card on the field, non-targeting, it's just really powerful. So yeah, and also with the new master rules, with cards like leaves the field, going back into the main or extra deck. So like, let's say I was up against a hero player and I bounce it back to the extra deck, it's not going to resolve. So that's one of the things I like about Erebus more so now than before. So yeah, definitely something to consider. 3 copies of Ether. There's a reason why this card was limited for so long. But like Erebus, when it's tribute summon, you can send 2 Monarch spells or traps to the grave, and you can special summon 1 other Monarch from your deck as long as it has 2,400 or more attack points with 1,000 defense. But the catch is that that card basically has to go back to your hand at the end of the turn. Now, one thing that also makes Ether so broken is that you can tribute summon this card during your opponent's turn. So like if you have a Monarch Stormforth face down, you can flip it on their turn and then activate Ether's effect, tribute 1 of their monsters during their turn, special summon this card, or not special summon, but tribute summon this card, and then yet get another monster out on the field. So yeah, Ether is so broken. Next, 1 Karaz, simply because, you know, it gives you draw power and it's spot removal. And the new addition to the deck is Celiglare the Luminous Lunar Dragon. So this is actually the tech card I was talking about. And I didn't realize that this card had Monarch stats, so 2,400 attack with 1,000 defense. So one thing I like about this card is that it's also Disruption. So you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its attack points become 1,500. That's not too bad, considering that, you know, it's whatever. And plus, it helps you deal with, like, if you bricked with in your hand, but you have this in your opening hand, you can just normal summon this and just kind of go from there. Also, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls during the main phase, quick effect, with attack less than or equal to this card. Return this card to your hand, and if you do, you can take control of that opponent's monster until the end phase. So that's actually not too bad. So like, if you just want to take control of one of your opponent's monsters, it's not a bad way to deal with it. So it does target, but again, it's not too bad, all things considering. So yeah, it's just like, again, it's disruption. So why would you want to run this? Moving on. For other monsters, running 2 copies of Vanity's Fiend, just 2 simply because it's not searchable, and of course 1 Majesty's Fiend, which funny enough, it is searchable. So yeah, just 2 and 1 I think is perfectly fine. So yeah. All right, so that's it for the big monsters. Now moving on to the openers. 3 copies of Adia. You know, one of your best normal summons, gets you access to Eidos, or Mithra if you want, but generally, yeah, you mostly just go into Eidos. And also, she recycles your banished Monarch spells or traps if she's sent to the graveyard. 2 Eidos, just 2 because, you know, 3 can be a bit of a brick. But also, he does give you an additional normal summon. Well, an additional tribute summon in addition to your normal summon. So, not too bad. And also, if you banish it, you can bring back your Adia and just kind of like re-loop the whole combo. 1 Mithra, simply because it's a free special summon. Yeah, you have to give your opponent a token, but that's really not too bad, all things considering, since if you tribute a summon using this card as tribute fodder, you get to effectively tribute summon again. So yeah, Mithra is pretty good. And of course, another one of our tribute fodder monsters, 3, I'll just call him Morphite, simply because, yeah, the name's kind of hard to pronounce. But he's basically Upstart Goblin, and he's a free monster that you can just tribute off. Now keep in mind, he does go into your extra deck once you pop himself, and then special summon it later. So that can conflict potentially with some of your Monarch spells and traps, but if you combo correctly, you should be fine. So yeah, and Morphite is not too bad. And luckily, he does get banished. He does banish himself once he leaves the field after, you know, you special summon from the pendulum or from the extra deck. So yeah. Moving on to spells already. 3 domain, you know, just to lock out your opponent out of their spell or out of their extra deck. Triple tenacity, you know, reveal a monarch and then search out anything you want. 3 Storeforth, tribute monsters that are also your opponents too. So yeah. 3 Pantheism, you know, for draw power. I mean, why wouldn't you want to run this at 3 now that it is at 3? 1 Return of the Monarchs. I don't feel like I need multiples of these simply because, you know, again, it's searchable. And plus, you can kind of just get this off of Pantheism, so yeah. 1 March of the Monarchs. 1 Called by the Grave, you know, just so I don't get disrupted. And for my other one-ofs, 1 Rhoda. And 1 Foolish Burial. I run this over a 1-for-1 simply because, like, you can dump Erebus, especially, like, if you break with your hand in your hand with nothing but spells and traps, but you have a Tenacity in your opening hand, but you hard open with this. You play Foolish Burial, use Erebus's Graveyard effect, discard a Monarch spell or trap, and just get them back to your hand, and you can still push for more play. So that's just why I run Foolish Burial over 1-for-1. But yeah. And you know what? Let's just go and get them out of the way. For my traps, 2 copies of the Prime Monarch, and only 1 copy of Monarch's Erupt, simply because you can just dump it and then recycle it later. And then you can still just basically search it off too. So yeah, Monarch's Erupt, I feel like just 1 should be fine. But if you wanted to, you could run 2. It's just really up to you on what you want to cut for that though. So that's pretty much it for the main decks, 40 cards, and moving on to the side deck because there's no extra deck for this deck. For my side deck, running 3 Token Collector, and this is just to deal with Sword Souls, and the fact that it's a free body, so like, yeah, you can just summon this off, cancel out your opponent's token generations, and then of course you can just tribute it out later for your monster, so why not? Running the Artifact package is my new side tech, simply because, you know, I want to stop Tri-Brigade and extra deck reliant decks, since Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is in the format. So yeah, that's just kind of like my thing. And of course 3 Sanctum to go along with it. So yeah, I figured I'd just bring the spice on this one. 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, Raigeki, and last but not least 1 Red Reboot. You know, just to deal with backward heavy strategies or just force out negates. So yeah, why not? Alright, well, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and as always, I will catch you guys again next time.